name is Adrian Nanchev, and this channel is all about championing hemp's use and bringing it into the mainstream conscience. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification next to it for the latest uploads and to be part of the hemp movement, because we want hemp. Now, what kind of marketing approach do we need to take in order to make hemp more mainstream? I think it's rather profound. I think, like what Harry Anslinger did years ago, he did a grassroots effort. I think we need to do the exact same strategy when it comes to advocating hemp. Taking hemp, and rather than saying why people should be frightened of it, instead take it and say, why should people love it? Why should people care about it? It's got everything we do in these videos, in this content, in this channel, has got to pass what I call the so what test when it comes to being presented to the world. Here's hemp. You should love it, you should legalise it, you should buy it, you should use it and wear it and consume it, you should have it part of your life, and it should be part of the world and the mainstream. So what? Why should I? I don't think just advocating hemp and that hippie kind of angle is not really going to work it with the majority of people, with the mainstream. In marketing terms, what is called the early majority and the late majority. They're not going to give absolute shit about the hippie, druggy side, all that kind of stuff. They're going to be much more pragmatic. The pragmatic herd, as they're described. They are going to want to know what makes it unique, what makes it practical, why should they use it, and they want something clear and cut, straight to the point, that's easy to use and easy to understand and not convoluted and little to no jargon. Their standards are very high. So we need to take hemp and ask, why is it important? Why is it unique? Why is it popular? Why is it revolutionary? Different adjectives and different ways of deconstructing the entire argument of hemp, and then presenting that with credible evidence to the early majority, the people that know little about hemp or have never heard of it, or have no reason to care about it, or may have heard about it once or twice, but they just don't give a shit. It's got to pass the so what test. Interestingly, I think this is how Harry J. Anslinger managed to scare people into allowing the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act to be enacted, because he more or less said to people, you should hate this because it's scary. It's getting people angry and aggressive, getting people to do crimes and getting people to do things like rape and stuff like that. He deconstructed the entire argument for hemp, and spun it in his way, arguably in a negative way. There are two main people at the start that are worth targeting. Firstly is the people who know and love hemp, the people that have waited their entire lives for hemp, people that will jump on board on anything related to hemp. They're probably like the enthusiasts or the hobbyists. They know the jargon, they know the technicalities, they know the inside out, and they're more willing to forgive any like shortcomings of the marketing or of the products, because they're so in love with it. Other people along the curve, like it's like a bell curve of how to go mainstream. The next people are the innovators, the people who see by adopting it they can get the advantage, the competitive advantage in business or in life in the long term, and they see the potential of it. Afterwards, going into the mainstream, they are much more pragmatic. Hemp needs to solve a problem for them, and/or hemp needs to be talked about by three or so of their three out of every four of their friends, and that's a little bit difficult to do, but there are some strategies behind that. But that is how I believe hemp can go mainstream, when the entire approach is more towards grassroots as opposed to relying on government and doing programs. Because my reluctance with that is not so much with like say education courses, but leaving it up to government, is that you're giving up control. You've got no control. You're giving control over to them, and the performance and what the message is going to be totally dictated by government, as opposed to controlled by the people who really give a shit about it. The people who will subscribe to this channel because we want hemp. Those are the people that really need to send the message across. And especially when that's combined with what's called the profit motive, where our message, for it to be accepted, we need to monetize it in some way, so that way we are being pushed to perform better and solve more problems and educate and talk about it much more efficiently and much more productively than just, here you go, like what the government would do. In the marketplace of ideas, hemp has got to stand on its own 2 feet. The idea that is hemp as a meritable idea in a meritocracy has got to stand on its own 2 feet. Preferably not to be propped up by like corporate welfare or subsidies or anything like that. The idea has to stand by itself, and that idea has to be presented in empirical ways and presented in ways that people can give a shit about it. Otherwise, they're not going to care. And if people don't care, that's the worst. Because if people hate you, then that means you stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. If people love you, it means you're on the right track. But if people don't care, then you're not inspiring any emotion into them. And if there's no emotion, you're not going anywhere. So the question of the day is, what kind of marketing messages would people in the mainstream appreciate to learn and understand about hemp? I think the ways they can incorporate the health and the food and the diet as part of it, because most people will eat almost anything. You know, you talk about, say, random obscure things like horsetail herb for the silica. You talk about whey protein, just for the protein and body mass. If we present it and create products or subsequent products that do those kind of and have those kind of benefits, then people in the mainstream will start to care. It will be like, oh, I've heard of hemp. Yeah, what is that? They might not know much about hemp, but because of the exposure of the product and people talking about it in general, they're like, oh yeah, I heard of that. What is it? Tell me more about that. You know, something about omega, something about essential fatty acids, I believe, and a good combination, a good ratio. Tell me more. Tell me more. They'll be interested. The barriers will be opened. They'll be more interested to learn more, as opposed to hemp. That's what I believe. What about you? What do you think? Also, subscribe. Click on the subscribe button and press the bell notification next to it for the latest uploads, and join the movement, because we want hemp. Also, there's a video here. Check out this video, all the other stuff out there, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.